And this is something interesting I'm thinking of installing. I've got a 9-year-old girl and a 7 and 5-year-old boy, and I came across this and I think it's really good. Basically, this is a slight aside, this is a video game where playing it is dependent on aiming in the right spot. So when you hit this pad, you actually drive a car or steer something, so it encourages you to aim well. She's already complaining about her brother's not aiming very well, so it might be a worthwhile addition to most toilets. All right, what to do? Most men don't want to go and see the doctor when they have waterworks problems because they think the doctor's going to want to stick some bit of steel up my penis or do something terrible, horrific, barbaric, and usually we don't. Usually you don't need to do anything at all. Your waterworks deteriorating is simply a consequence of ageing, and you don't need to do anything about it unless it bothers you or you're not emptying your bladder properly. Okay? So don't be terrified. And if you do need to do something, it's pretty simple. We've got great tablets, great medication that can improve your quality of life. When all that fails and things are still terrible, yes, we've got some surgical things we can do, but that's way, way down the track. So don't be fearful. We can really improve your quality of life. All right, any questions? That's benign prostate disease. I move on? Okay. Prostate cancer. Now, prostate cancer, there's a hell of a lot in the media about prostate cancer. And the thing about it is that the consensus that we've got is that we know that a lot of men will get it. When they went and looked in the morgue at all the 90-year-old men who died of other causes, virtually all of them had prostate cancer, okay? So why are we worrying about it? You know, men die of something else, they don't die of prostate cancer, yes, they get it. But last year, over 3,000 men in Australia died of prostate cancer. Now that's a big number. That's about the same as died of breast cancer. A lot of those men were older, obviously, but it's still a significant number. And the thing that we need to be conscious of is that, you know, the death rate in rural environments, we probably don't quite classify as a rural environment here, but the death rate is about 20% higher. So there is less awareness, there is less probably access to medical care, less testing, less preventative health in non-metropolitan areas. So we do worse, generalising, we do worse than our city cousins. So it's something we should be aware of. So I think it is a myth that men die with prostate cancer than of it. Sure, that's true, but a lot of men die of prostate cancer. The problem with prostate cancer, and the reason that it's so controversial, is that it's a very diverse disease. Okay, there are some types that are really mild, won't affect you, just grumble on, do nothing. There are other types that are lethal. And the difference is trying to figure out which one's which and who do you need to treat and who you don't. There's no real way of preventing it. We know it's a Western disease. We know that it's more common in Western countries. It might have something to do with our high-fat, high-animal protein diets, but we're really not sure what the cause is. There are a number of theories out there. There's no real way that you can prevent it. We know that some things are preventative. People who live in areas where there's a lot of selenium in the soil, it's a trace element in soil, tend to get less prostate cancer. People who have lots of antioxidants like lycopenes that are in cooked tomatoes tend to get less prostate cancer, but there's no magic cure. Now, this is the important point that I want to make, is that early prostate cancer rarely has symptoms. And I often get disbelief in a lot of men when you say, look, I'm sorry, we have found prostate cancer. They say, but I've got no symptoms. I don't have a problem peeing. I've got nothing at all. And the reason for that is that prostate cancer, the prostate, when we show you these pictures, just looks like this blob. You think it's all the same, but it's not. There are different zones in the prostate. So prostate cancer is what we call a peripheral disease. It tends to start, in most cases, at the back of the prostate. The benign disease, remember I showed you that picture before, is a central disease. The non-cancerous disease is central. And that's the bit that narrows the urinary channel, and that's why you get the symptoms. So early prostate cancer, very few symptoms. And here's a cross-section. This is a pathology slide. So this is one sliced down the middle, and this is the urethra. This is where the urine runs, and this is the benign disease here, lots of it. And this is the bit that will often cause the symptoms. And out here, this is the prostate cancer. That makes sense, doesn't it? That this thing's not going to start impinging on that urethra until it gets pretty big. So how do we test for prostate cancer? Most of you heard about the blood test and the finger test, PSA, and that's pretty much the best that we've got at the moment. Believe me, there's a lot of research going on into ways in trying to improve our testing to get things that are more specific for prostate cancer. And I do want to emphasise that early testing gives us our only chance of cure. So if we find it early, we can cure the disease. But I grant it is controversial. I'm going to touch on those controversies now. Okay, so there's pretty good evidence out there that PSA testing increases the number of cancers found. Okay, and there's also some pretty good evidence to show that that decreases the death rate. Countries that have instituted PSA testing tend to have decreasing death rates from prostate cancer. They also have decreasing people diagnosed with advanced prostate cancer, where it's spread to the bones, where it's caused problems.